Hey everybody, in today's video, I'm going to be answering the question, are Upwork Connects really worth it, right? Is continuing to buy more and more Connects and submit more and more proposals actually worth it on Upwork, right? And so we're going to dive into the cost to submit each proposal on Upwork, the cost to acquire each customer on Upwork, and at the end, we're going to go through a full KPI breakdown, right? So let's dive right in here. So each Connect costs 15 cents, which means 10 Connects cost $1.50. Right, so let's just say the average job costs 14 Connects to apply to. That would mean your average cost is going to be $2.10 for each proposal you submit, right? However, that's not considering a boost, right? And so let's just say you boost each proposal with an average of 6 additional Connects. That would mean, on average, you're submitting each proposal for 20 Connects, which is going to cost you $3, right? And so let's just say you submit 100 proposals each month. Your total cost would be $300 per month, right? So let's see if it's worth it. So let's say you're a marketing agency and you're charging $1,000 per month, right? And let's just say that you offer a pretty good service, but it's not outstanding. It's not excellent, right? And so your average client stays with you for 3 months before leaving you. That would mean your customer LTV, or lifetime value, would be $3,000. And this is a really important number to know, because if you know this number, it tells you how much money you can spend to acquire each customer and stay profitable, right? And so let's dive into a KPI breakdown now. So if you were to submit 100 proposals, you would get 10 to 15 leads, depending on the industry and how competitive it is on Upwork, right? And if you were to get 10 to 15 leads, that would book you 3 to 5 sales calls, right? And if you close at 30% on Upwork, you would sign 1 or 2 clients. And I just want to make this really clear. You can easily close at 30% on Upwork. Like, that's not some outstanding number. I close at about 35 or 40% on Upwork, and I don't even consider myself a very good salesperson. Like, that's definitely not my strength as an entrepreneur. And so the one big key to selling on Upwork is knowing and understanding that everyone on Upwork already knows they need your service, right? So you don't have to go through some crazy pitch or go through some crazy objection handling, right? Like, these people already know they need your service. And so you can definitely close at 30% on Upwork, right? And so if you did, you would sign 1 or 2 clients. And if, let's just say 1, right, for simplicity. So if you sign 1 client from 100 proposals, that means your cost to acquire each customer, or your CAC, would be $300, right? And we can just get that from the math that we did up here, right? Because if you submit 100 proposals and each one costs $3, that's going to be $300. And if 100 proposals gives you 1 client, that means your cost to acquire each client equals $300, right? And if you recall, up here, we went over it, and your customer LTV is $3,000, right? So that's a 10 to 1 from your CAC to customer LTV, which is pretty solid. That being said, we haven't gone over your expenses yet, right? And your margins. And so let's say you operate at about 70% margins. That means this $3,000 customer LTV would net you about $2,100, right? So that's, after you pay for your expenses, right? Things like software, maybe you have some employees, right? All the expenses directly correlated with this client is going to come out, right, when you calculate this out, right? And so if we just use this math now, you're getting about a 7 to 1 return on your investment, right? Because if you actually look at how much you're profiting, right, which would be $2,100, before you take into account the cost that you acquired the customer, right? You're getting 7 to 1, right? So CAC to LTGP, which is lifetime gross profit, or just the quick calculation we did out right here, would be 7 to 1, right? And so that means each time you close a client on Upwork, right, once you do the simple math here, minus the $300 from the $2,100, that means you're profiting $1,800 per client, right? And so that is a full KPI breakdown, right? Those are the numbers. So hopefully you get, kind of a better idea as to if Upwork is really worth it for your company, or even if you're freelancing, right? But there are a few different considerations that I do want to walk you through before we end this video. So first off is the quality versus quantity. So if you're only submitting 100 proposals per month on Upwork, I would say that's not very many, right? And so I would encourage you to make them a lot more personalized, right? And especially like if you are someone who has a tight budget, if you are someone who yeah, just like has a tight budget, doesn't want to spend very much, and maybe you have a lot of time on your hands, I would definitely consider personalizing these proposals a lot more opposed to using like a template, right? I use templates. They do include, personalized lines, at least one or two. But at this point, right, we're doing quantity, right? We have virtual assistants who submit hundreds of proposals every week, right? And so we go for more the quantity because it's just more scalable, right? But if, like I was saying, if you don't have that much money, if you have a tight budget or you have a lot of time on your hands and you're only submitting 100 proposals per month, then I would encourage you to really, hyper personalize them, right? Like 2 to 10 personalized sentences in there because you will convert at a higher rate, right? And so you can just do the math, right, yourself. But if you plug this in and let's say you double your leads, right? Let's say you're getting 20 to 30 leads, you can just see everything else doubles, right? You're going to get twice as many sales calls. You're going to close twice as many deals. And then your cost to acquire a customer gets cut in half, right? Pretty nice. So that's one consideration to make. Another one is pricing your services, right? Like if you are charging $1,000 a month right now, most people who are willing to pay $1,000 a month are probably willing to pay $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, right? And so you can see that if you just double this, right? If you charge $2,000 a month and people stay the same amount of months, you're going to double your customer LTV, right? And then instead of getting, where were we here? Instead of getting 7 to 1, you're getting 14 to 1, right? That's a lot more attractive, right? So it's another consideration. The other one is the impact of having lower churn, right? And so churn is super cool. It's basically up here when we did the customer LTV calculations, right? We said that your average customer would stay with you for 3 months, right? And so that means a customer churns out every 3 months, right? And so if you just lower that, so let's say, a customer churns out every 6 months, right? Then you're going to double your customer LTV, right? Your customer LTV would be $6,000. And that just comes from, it can come from a lot of things, but ultimately just providing a better service, right? And so like, if you can provide that awesome service to people, even if it costs you a little bit more on the front end, you are going to benefit a lot on the back end if you're charging that monthly recurring revenue fee, right? So that's another consideration. And the last thing I just want to say here is I hear this all the time, people complaining, saying, oh, Upwork Connects costs so much money, like blah, blah, blah. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Imagine a universe where Upwork Connects are completely free. If you think the competition on Upwork is high right now, it would be unbelievable if Connects were free. Genuinely, like there would literally be like tens, if not hundreds of millions of freelancers on Upwork. And each job, instead of having like 20 to 50 proposals submitted to it, it would literally have thousands, if not tens of thousands, right? And so you have to think about this from a logistical perspective. Like the fact that Connects cost money is a good thing. I know it's a little annoying, right? It is a little annoying. I get it. But if you just do the math out right here, and if it makes sense for your company, for even if you're a freelancer, then just go for it, right? Go all in. Trust the numbers because numbers don't lie, right? And so it is a good thing that Upwork Connects costs money because ultimately it just weeds out a lot of competition, right? And so that's all I've got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was a pretty quick one. Tried to just keep it nice and short and sweet. If you have any questions, I'll be answering every single comment that you guys leave down below. So make sure to comment if you have any questions. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.